To come forward and lead us in the pledge. If we'd all stand and face the flag.
What a privilege it is to salute the flag of the United States of America. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome to the fifth Monday meeting of the Mayor and Council of Roswell. We call this the Citizens Meeting because we allow you all to speak. So if you would like to speak, please raise your hand, come to the microphone. After I recognize you, give us your name and address, and if you would fill in a speaker card before you leave, I'd appreciate it. So who would like to speak? Yes, sir, come forward.
Hello, Jake Lilly, 265 Junction Track, and wanted to take a moment and just readdress the issue of the metal detectors. I understand there's been some progress in that area, and quite frankly, this has the real potential to be a very polarizing issue. I think everyone knows that. Certainly the council vote, a 3-3 split decision, whether to keep the metal detectors in place or remove them, demonstrated this was an issue that had many people divided. I'd really just like to thank Mayor and Council. Had an opportunity to look over some of the proposed alternatives to keeping the metal detectors in place, and it obviously required a lot of diplomacy and some creative problem solving to come up with those options. And they all look great to me. They really do. I didn't have a chance to see which one made sense to implement, but I think they are good alternatives, and I really appreciate that you all took the effort to go through that process. And ultimately accomplishes three things I think everybody wanted to see, which was one, it does increase security for City Hall. Two, it actually increases customer service and adds value, which is, anytime the government can do that, I'm a fan of it and in favor of it. And three, it actually allows the citizens of Roswell to use all the doors they paid for, and I think that's a great thing as well. So I asked Mayor and Council to move forward with one of these alternative solutions and to implement those, and let's bring those metal detectors down and let people use all the doors they paid for, and let the police officers, who are very friendly and very helpful, let them go back to doing something that's more useful and more interesting with their day. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Who'd like to speak next? Yes, sir. Come forward, please. No, Sam, you didn't raise your hand. It's Mr. Fleck raised his hand. Come forward, please.
First, Sam. Go ahead.
Well, Sam, would you like to come forward?
Sure.
Please come forward, Mr. Evans. If you'll give us your name and address, please.
Mr. Mayor, Dr. Price, ladies and gentlemen, members of the City of Roswell. My name is Sam Evans. I live at 150 Chafin Road. I'm an engineer and a surveyor. My training is in highway engineering. I started out in 1961 as a highway engineer, planning engineer for the state of Georgia. Now, since 1988, I have been standing before y'all, bringing attention to y'all certain discrepancies that exist in our city. But we have the mother of all discrepancies, and that's the Visual Arts Center West, which is the dog park, which from the Chattahoochee River on the east, the Cobb County on the west. This is the only facility that has improper driveways. In fact, these driveways existed 12 years ago. Mr. Mayor, you've been mayor for 15 years, so you've been passing this area for 12 years of your 15 years. These are residential driveways. Now that's what the Visual Arts Center West looked like 12 years ago. 2 residential driveways. On the left is the dog park. I passed there tonight. There was 15, 20 cars in the dog park. There were a few cars at the main building. Now, I've been writing letters to y'all, and I made a promise to y'all, and I've kept my promise. I said until these driveways get built properly, I was going to stand before the people's meeting and speak, and I'm keeping my word. I'm here. Now, luckily, Dr. Betty Price took over Roswell Transportation this year, and things begun to change. Instead of seeing that right there with no improvements in mind, what's happening now is this is what they are planning to do. Dr. Price allowed Roswell Transportation and my colleague Steve Ossenbeck to do it right, to come up with a good design. So what I'm asking you, undoubtedly my colleague is not here tonight. I don't know why. He probably thought I was coming and he didn't want to face me, but that's neither here nor there. Dr. Price, what's the status on this driveway?
Well, we discussed that just last week, and my understanding is that it's coming along.
Pardon, I didn't hear you, ma'am.
It's in progress. It should happen fairly soon.
If
someone from the department could give us more specific times and dates, I'd appreciate that.
Anyone in the Transportation Department can address that question. Come forward to the microphone, please.
Mr. Evans?
Yes, sir.
It's good to see you. We're working on a couple of alternatives, and we have one alternative that looks similar to what you just showed, and then there's another one that modifies the exit only driveway. So we're evaluating both of those and developing those plans.
Any estimate on time when you'll be coming forward with a proposal to council?
We don't have a specific date. I would think within the next 6 weeks we would have something to present to council.
Thank you, sir.
Who are you, sir?
I'm David Lowe. I'm the Deputy Director.
David. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Well, at least we're moving, Dr. Price, and it's because of you, Dr. Price, and you're the ones that got my accolades tonight, and I thank you.
Well, it is an interdepartmental solution as well, because Parks and Rec is involved also.
Yes, ma'am, but until you got put in charge of transportation, nothing happened. You have made something that's beginning to move after a decade. Can you believe this? After a decade. Well, moving on to another issue. The Crystal at Dogwood and Holcomb Bridge Road. There needs to be a guardrail. It's on the southwest corner, and I'm sure all of y'all have gone in there and got a Crystal. You can see the big fall off from Dogwood into the Crystal parking lot. Now, if you go up the hill just a little bit, you'll find the guardrail that should have been down at the Crystal. They put it on top of the hill where it doesn't need a guardrail. Drive by there sometime, Dr. Price, and hope that Roswell Transportation will begin to look into this. Now, this has been going on longer than the driveways at the Visual Arts Center West. It's been there, and I made a career out of writing letters to y'all, to this county and to this city and to the transportation. We've had 3 transportation directors while all this stuff has been going on. Now, the last item on my The last item on my agenda that I sent y'all, it says the honor system. And this is why I was hoping Colonel Ossenbeck would be here. We both are graduates of the Citadel. And part of the Citadels, well, the main part of the Citadel is an honor code. And the honor code says the following. A cadet shall not lie, cheat, steal, but the most important of the words is nor tolerate those who do. We were promised years and years ago that when the toll come off of 400, when we paid for 400, the tolls would come off. 16 members of the building of the Toll Road Authority said, heck no, we ain't going to take it off. We're going to stick the people in North Fulton County, in Forsyth County. But you got to, and this, if this bond issue fails tomorrow, this is going to be a big part of why it failed, because the people had lost trust in what the politician promised us. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. Mrs. Price wanted to address the Transportation Investment Act. Do you wish to do that now or later?
I'll just speak briefly to that. And most of you in this room probably plan to vote or have already voted, but I just want to encourage everybody to avail themselves of all the information that's out there, and there's plenty of it on this T-SPOST issue. The city has not taken an official stand. The council has not taken an official stand, but I think if you ask each of us, we would probably tell you what our inclinations are. Frankly, I'm a little disappointed in the legislature for not having solved this independently and having thrust it back on to the legislature, onto the citizens, since we are now in the awkward position of raising taxes on ourselves, and nobody wants to do that, although there are some things that need to be addressed and taken care of. As you all probably know, that we in Region 3, which is the Atlanta Regional Commission, is a large area, 1/12 of the state, that will be voting as a block to either pass or defeat the T-SPOST initiative. And for Roswell, there are things at stake. 85% of it goes into the system-wide projects, and those have some benefit to Roswell. At the Holcomb Bridge 400 interchange at Rucker and House Road. Is it Rucker and House? Well, 140 and Rucker, and also at the Gateway, the South Atlanta Street down to the river. And those are all things that we have in the works, design, and ready to go, and we're looking forward to those things happening, hopefully in the near future. So we do know that there is a carrot in this T-SPOST because those things are part of it. Also, there's a 15% that goes back to the municipalities. In other areas of the state, 25% goes back, so we've got a little shortchange there. On the other hand, we probably have the greater revenue in the state as well. So 15% of that comes straight back to municipal projects, and we have a list that we passed in council a few weeks ago that would give you an idea of what we're hoping to do if it passes. So we're prepared either way. We're prepared if it passes. We're prepared if it fails. And personally, I'm excited to think that some of the things we have been dreaming about and planning for could happen sooner rather than later. But I also recognize that everybody has to make that decision, that the amount of money that they would spend in a year for 10 years, they may feel exceeds the benefit that they're getting. I hope they don't see it that way, just because I'd like to see these projects go, but I certainly understand if people feel that our money on the grander scale has not been managed well. So I urge you to look hard and deep at the cost to you and the benefit that you might get, and vote tomorrow. Thank you.
Who would like to speak next? Yes, sir. Come forward.
Lee Fleck, Martin's Landing. Councilwoman Price, I couldn't agree with you more that our state legislature has been remiss in failing to address the transportation problem and putting it back on the public for a decision. That was their responsibility, and they have usurped that responsibility for years now, and now we're in dire needs. I have a few questions. One, I want to know what the status is on fire station number 4. Also, in the media during the week, I heard that there was supposed to be a special meeting tonight with regard to addressing the security here, the metal detectors. Is that going to be the nature of the topic number 2 in the special meeting tonight? And number 3, I would like a short and brief answer to the question posed publicly. I would like to know where the $6.3 million of excess revenue for the debt service has come from that is in escrow based on the statements made by K. Love during the final budget meeting. Thank you.
We'll first ask Mike Fisher to respond to your first question about status of finding a new location for fire station number 4.
Mr. Fleck, that status is continuing to move forward. There has been several pieces of property over time that has been identified, either ruled as something that we wanted to continue to look at or ruled out for whatever reason, whether it be the topography of the property. So that is still a plan to be put forth sometime during this next year, hopefully, as we continue to move forward looking for the property to build. That station will be replaced.
Whether security is going to be part of the special call meeting.
You asked, is security going to be part of the special call meeting? The second on the agenda is approval of security and citizen information measures at City Hall. We're looking at, actually now we've talked about 4 different alternatives, so that will be brought up immediately following this public meeting. And your last question, I'm going to leave for Mike Fisher. That's a technical budget finance question.
Thank you. I'm going to probably put our Finance Director, Keith Lee, on the spot. I know he's back there smiling at me already to discuss that topic.
Thank you, sir. In FY12, we did defease or pay off our 2002 bonds. Those were paid off through funds that we had collected over the years. It was $6.3 or $6 million. As a result, the only remaining bonds that we have are the 2008 bonds. Those funds were a part of the strategy to keep the city's AAA bond rating as we maintained a year's worth of fund balance in our debt service fund to cover any outstanding debt.
I think the specific is, where did the $6.3 million for the debt service come from or go to?
The $6.3 million was part of the debt service fund. We paid off the 2002 bonds in February. Those funds had been collected over a number of years.
I'm going to allow Mr. Fleck a follow-up question if he has one.
Your follow-up request, where did it come from? Did it come from excess debt service millage rate revenue? Yes or no?
All of the funds collected in the debt service fund was related to a tax, the debt service tax.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have any questions or comments? This is your opportunity to bring up any subject pertinent to the City of Roswell. Seeing no hands up, the public fifth money meeting is adjourned, and we'll call a special call meeting